Ladies and gentlemen, let's say you got 70 to 90K and you want to buy a used 911. We got a 2017 911 991.2 base against a 2012 997.2 GTS Cabriolet. And the question today is, with that 70 to 90K, which one are you better off spending? Now, starting with the 991.2, we're powered by a 3-liter twin turbocharged flat six, making 370 horsepower, 331 pound-feet of torque. Both of these cars are going to be strut front, multi-link rear, although this is lighter because it's not the Cabriolet, so this weighs around 3,200 pounds. Now, we have mismatched tires. We have these Goodyear Eagle F1 Sport 3s, 245 section width in the front, and in the back, brand new Michelin PS 4S rubber, 305 section width. In terms of options, we got these Carrera S wheels, PDK, Porsche Sport exhaust, 14-way sport seats, Sports Chrono, which gives you the Sport Plus mode with launch control, PDLS Plus with the full LED headlights. And with that being said, let's see how she drives. Now, the first thing you'll notice, this is a larger car than the 997. The 997 has a wheelbase that is 4 inches shorter than the 991. This is kind of the first step into the modern large 911, with the 991, 992s being quite a bit larger. But the one thing that I do really love about the 991s, especially the .2s, is how they've modernized the interior. I really like how Porsche has been doing steering wheels in the last few years. Although keep in mind, this is a GT3 style aftermarket wheel, and the thickness is a little bit inconsistent because I feel like it's skinnier this way and then thicker this way, so when you're holding it, it just, I don't know, doesn't feel quite right. It takes a minute to get used to. Now, when it comes to the actual driving experience, essentially bone stock, just keep in mind the tire mismatch. The notable thing being the steering wheel, but also a few cosmetic things like the GT3 RS side skirts and the front lip and the front Louvre delete and yada yada yada. Full mod list, as always, down in the description. We're going to start off in normal mode. Quiet, comfortable, firm ride, of course. It is a 911. But in normal mode, if you do start pushing it a little bit, and you get on the paddles, you'll notice the shifts are a little bit slower than you'd expect, but they're very smooth. Now that changes. We go to Sport Plus mode now. Sport exhaust is engaged, PASM engaged, shift logic different. And she comes to life. Now you get those instant shifts. Even letting you go down into first. Gotta love the PDK. Now, the engine, it makes enough horsepower, but compared to the 992, I feel like this has a bit more lag. You notice that, of course, further down low. With the turbocharger, you're not getting that full, naturally aspirated howl that we love from the Porsche Flat 6. But the power delivery is fun, it is satisfying. And the steering, it's the 991.2, they must have made some changes to the EPS versus the 991.1. You gotta remember, the 991 is the first generation with EPAS versus hydraulic in the 997 and that Cabriolet that we're gonna be driving. .370 horsepower, around 3,200 pounds is adequate. Not gonna rip your face off, but you definitely don't feel like it's lacking. So yeah, mid-corner, not getting much load up, but we do at least get the texture, and it's very direct. It doesn't feel overly twitchy and artificial with the fast steering ratio. It feels natural, it feels one-to-one. The brakes, I feel like modern Porsche brakes have this incredible, beautiful, firm, confidence-inspiring nature to them, where you push it just a little bit, and you instantly get some brake feel and firmness. And in this 2017, it's not quite to the same level as modern Porsches from the last couple years, but it's a big step in that direction, and you can feel them focusing on that driving signature and bringing it close to what modern Porsches feel like. The 991, of course, dialing out a lot of that rear engine nature. Not as much as the 992s, but you don't feel as much of a pendulous booty as the 996 or 997. You gotta remember, McPherson strut front suspension, so if you push it a bit hard into the corner, it does give way to understeer a bit. What I'm trying to figure out is there are 911s that I drive that feel a little bit boring and dull and competent, but just not quite clinical in the same way as the Cayman, but they feel very, very well-rounded to the point that they're not exciting. And then there's other 911s that I enjoy much more. Now, it's not just based on trim level, because I've driven like the T, 991 and 992T, and I loved both of them. But then I drove a 992S, and I was like, not really doing it for me. And here, this is doing it for me. This does have that level of engagement and connectedness. Is it the most connected car in the world? Absolutely not. But for a modern 911, I'm satisfied with this. I have a bit of character with that rear engine feel to it, where you need to load up the front as you enter a corner to get more weight, get more grip on those front tires. I have enough power. I think a lot of us, myself included, would prefer a naturally aspirated flat six, but the turbo here is definitely a lot better than any turbocharged Cayman from years prior. And you gotta say, the 997.2 taillights, they look good, man. A lot better than the 997.1 taillights. With this phone mount here, it's hard to see, but since we're in Sport Plus, PASM's engaged. I'm gonna turn that off. Porsche tends to do suspension really well. Even on a bumpy road like this, mid-corner, you're not really getting unsettled on the bumps. Let's go into manual mode here. Give you one more pull. Line just shy of 7,500 RPM. If there was a weakness to this car, I would say it's the engine. You don't get as much of that emotionality compared to other naturally aspirated 911s, but damn, other than that, this car just so well-rounded and such a pleasure to drive at 70 to 90K. I think you're getting a lot for your money. Would you be better off with a LSD and a higher trim? Possibly, yeah, it depends on how hard you're pushing it. Definitely on track, on the canyons, only if you're really pushing it hard. But now it's time to hop into the 997.2 GTS Cabriolet. 2012 997.2 Carrera GTS, and MSRP brand new around $128,000, but now used market, again, 70 to 90K, the same as that 991.2. In this trim, we're weighing over 3,400 pounds. You got 200 plus with the Cabriolet, and another 60 pounds with the PDK over the manual. So definitely a weight penalty over the 991. Here we're powered by a 3.8 liter flat six, naturally aspirated, making 408 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque with direct injection, 7,500 RPM redline. Now this GTS comes with PASM and the Spider wheels, 19 by 8.5 in the front, 19 by 11 in the rear. We've got PS4S rubber, 235 section width and 305 section width. Options here include, of course, the PDK, this platinum silver metallic paint, 12-way power seats that also have heating and ventilation, PDLS, that's the Porsche dynamic lighting system, Sport Chrono package, extended navigation. But what you care most about is how it drives. Now we're gonna keep the top up for audio reasons. Although a big reason why you would buy this over the hardtop is that top-down experience. First off, getting to the interior definitely feels a lot older, right? the 997.2 versus 991.2. Here you're feeling the age, whereas there not so much. Even the steering wheel, right? The materials here, this hard leather. Let's kill that. Stereo. And even the style of the steering wheel, the size, you know, I guess airbags have gotten smaller and smaller since, but not the most beautiful cabin. Still has good build quality, of course. But even the seating position, the wheel here doesn't come quite as far out as that 991 did. I got more comfortable there. And I feel like those seats might be a little bit more comfortable too. Starting off in this normal mode, I feel like there's a greater difference between normal and Sport Plus here versus in that car. Now, part of that is the suspension, part of that is the shifting, but the biggest part is likely the engine, because the engine is nice and quiet and smooth. This seems like a very well-mannered car. And then, rather than having this dial on the steering wheel, we press Sport Plus down there, that engages PASM, and that Porsche Sport exhaust. Woo-hoo! You can't beat the sound of a naturally aspirated Porsche flat 6. Now, the actuation of the actual paddles in both of these cars, I feel like is a little bit looser and plasticky versus some more recent Porsches. But the actual shift speed here is substantially slower than in the 991.2. You'll see that both on the upshifts and the downshifts. The chassis also doesn't feel as rigid, right? I mean, you'd expect that with the Cabriolet, it is not going to have the same rigidity because it doesn't have that hard top. But you feel it maybe more than you'd expect here. You can kind of hear and feel the chassis flex, the creaks here and there. Let's do a pull. Naturally aspirated, not as much torque as that turbocharged, but it builds in a more linear way, in a more traditionally naturally aspirated way. Not that that doesn't build in a naturally aspirated way, but that has more low down torque and a bit of lag low down as well. But there's something that's bothering me here, and I feel like it's the suspension is much more crashy, not nearly as refined and sophisticated as that 991.2. That thing soaks up the bumps way better while maintaining a higher degree of comfort as well. Now again, part of that is the weight, because when you have a heavier car, it's harder to get the body control and the comfort, but it's only 200 pounds. It's still substantial, but not completely game-changing. I think it's more a matter of just older versus newer technology and tuning. Yep. Strut front. So you can see it giving way to understeer, but the nice thing with the GTS is you get that LSD. So when you are pushing it on those lower speed corners, you can feel that rotation as you're getting on throttle, depending on how hard you're getting on throttle and how hard you're pushing it, which is not something you get in the base. But one thing that really surprises me is the steering here. Now, you would expect with the hydraulic steering, again, the 997 is the last generation of 911 to have hydraulic steering. You would think that it would be much better than the 991, and the feedback here is actually a lot better. You get a lot more texture to the road. You actually get some load up mid-corner, whereas it's very, very minimal in the 991.2. But maybe because the chassis isn't as stiff, or maybe the age of the car, I don't know. It just, you don't have that same level of directness and accuracy with the steering rack. Not that there's a lot of slop by any means, you just also get this weird vibration. It's I feel like in the 991 they filtered out a lot of NVH and you're getting a bit of feedback, whereas here you're getting more feedback but also a lot more NVH through the wheel. Through the rest of the car too. Not as comfortable of a ride. But I do love that it has these multiple personalities, because going from normal to Sport Plus is a bigger jump. The brakes here, as much as I love them in the 991, this definitely feels like the prior philosophy or the prior approach to brakes in 911s, where you don't have that same immediate firmness and very precise modulation of the 991s and 992s. Still good brakes, don't get me wrong, but you feel the age here a lot more. If it was my money, it would definitely be the 991.2. I'd be curious if this was a hardtop, not the Cabriolet, lighter weight, greater rigidity, how that would compare. Maybe we'll do that in a future video. But we'll end off giving you one more pull. Yeah, even those shifts in Sport Plus, they're not supposed to be smooth. You want to have a little bit of that, you know, that feeling between shifts, that little jolt. But it's a slower jolt than in the 991.2. You can feel the faster engagement there. My friends, let me know what you think. 70 to 90K, where would you put your money? Leave a comment down below if you want your car reviewed. Visit us on jabalandcars.com. Big thanks to Fenton's son from the Zygreen YouTube channel for making this review possible. Big thanks to the owners. And my friends, I'll see you in the next one.